It was a weekend, and we had went to my sister's house. We basically just had a barbecue, enjoyed ourselves, and then went home that evening. I just remember waking up, and I happened to turn over and notice a man, dark. I couldn't make out his face because, the light I had was just a TV, and it was kind of away from the bed. I thought, am I dreaming or am I not dreaming? And when I looked over, I seen this man standing there. I seen something shining, like a glare, like metal, and I just was able to yell out to my husband, watch out, look out.
She said, look out. And I was like thinking, what? And I turned around and I went to get out of bed, and there's a guy standing over me waving a baseball bat, aluminum baseball bat over my head. I mean, I didn't have time to do anything. I had time to move and barely, sit up, and he had hit me. I didn't have time to do anything. And that's what I was thinking of, man. I'm gonna try to fight with this guy. I had no chance. I didn't have a chance. I think he kicked my teeth out or punched my teeth out, my front teeth. Nose was broke.
He had my husband on the ground, and I could hear him kicking my husband, and I could hear my husband, yelling, hurting, and I could hear him, he's telling my husband Raymond, calling his husband Raymond, and my husband's telling him, I'm not Raymond.
He was just yelling at me, saying, you're part of the Mexican mafia, and where's the gun at? And you're calling me Raymond. And I'm like, I'm white, and I'm not in the Mexican mafia, and my name's not Raymond. And he kept just yelling at us and saying, you're gonna get it, and where's the gun? And I was just on the ground laying there, I was thinking, oh my, what could I do? I couldn't move.
He tells me, is there anybody else in the house? Then it seemed as soon as he said, is there anybody else in the house, my son walks. I can hear my son say, Mom. And so the first thing I tell my son is, don't look, Dustin, cover your eyes. Because this whole time that we're in the room and this is happening to us, he's telling, me, don't look at me, don't look at me. It seemed when my son walked into the room, the intruder, his whole demeanor kind of changed. He went from being very aggressive and angry to a little bit more calm. I just remember my son did most of the talking in the bed, telling him, giving him ideas to tie us up, like just put us in the closet, lock the door, tie us up with their shoelaces. It seemed like the more that my son talked to him, his tone of voice just changed. It was like more from, initially was angry to, like a moderate tone to just like a regular talking. But my husband could not get up because he was, obviously injured. And so he tells me, you better get your husband, up. You better help him.
I felt real weak and sick and just blood running down the side of my face. And plus my teeth were gone and my nose was broken, and I had blood just dripping all down my face. And I knew I had a big wound on my head because I could feel the cold air hitting it up there.
He comes, cracks the door, and he tells my son that he wants him to come out of the bathroom. At first, I think I told him no, and he said no, he needs to come out of the bathroom. And I'm thinking, okay, do I try to fight with him?
I remember saying, I hope he's not gonna kill my son. I hope not, he's not gonna kill my son, not my son.
My son gets up and he goes outside the door with them, and they close the door. And I remember listening, putting my head up against the door to listen to see what I could hear, listen to see if I hear anything. And I just hear them walking away, just, the voices just walking, fading away. And I knew they had to have gone towards the bedrooms. And he told my son, I'm going to give this to your dad, but if I give it to your dad, it's going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to give him a lot. I'm going to kill him. Or you can take it for your dad, and, it's just truth serum, so it's either give it to your dad and kill your dad, or I'm going to give it to you. So my son went ahead and told him yes. And that's the point that I heard my son screaming and crying. To me, it was like I thought he was killing my son. It was a cry and a scream together that I had never heard. I hear my son, and I hear this guy telling my son, okay, that was fun, huh? That was fun, right? Everything's okay, right? Kind of guiding my son, the conversation, how he wanted the conversation to go. And I hear my son, composure. I don't hear him crying no more. Calm, saying, yeah, that was okay. That was fun. Yeah, that was fun. He seemed calm. He seemed normal, just like nothing, just normal. And, I asked him, is he okay? Because, I heard him screaming, crying. And he started motioning something about his arm and his shot, but, we were whispering, so I didn't realize really what he was saying. I didn't see any bruises, I didn't see nothing on his face, no cuts.
My son kept saying, he's got a gun. I think he's got a gun. One with a scope on it, or a red dot. My wife kept telling him, we don't see no dot.
I can see my son now acting really weird and strange, chewing his mouth, moving like he's chewing gum, nervous. Throughout that time I'm in the bathroom, I can hear the car leaving, and then some time would go by, and then the car would come back, several times. I go to the door, put my mouth against the door, and I'm, excuse me, and I tell him, sir, can I please have a blanket? And nobody answers, and I ask him again, can I please have a blanket? We're cold, can we please have a blanket? Because I wanted to be able to tell if somebody was there. So I decide I'm gonna pull the door open and try to get away.
And the door was locked, but she had pried it open and was yanking on it, and it busted open. And when she busted it open, she was peeking her head out, and she would look, one way and the other way, and there was nothing. She would say, Mister, sir, is there anybody here? Nothing. And she turned around and she says, I'm gonna run to the back, to the sliding glass door, and I'm gonna run out.
So I remember in the dark, pitch dark, going down the hall, turning right into the den, and I ran to this fat sliding door. I don't know how I unlocked it, because I unlocked the door, opened the sliding door, and just ran as fast as I could. I survived for my family. I survived for my kids and my husband. And I survived because of my son's strength.